Gary for putting up with me and letting me bug them and ask for lots of advice. We have a wonderful show, and again, I really appreciate you coming. And we'll start with our first lovely artist, Brian Quisenberry.
Hi. I graduated from here, obviously, in '09, and my work starts here. I have a few things downstairs. My husband's Josh Potter, so we worked a little bit collaboratively with some of these pieces. He pulls these pots out of the kiln, and sometimes I see things in them that look like landscapes or sometimes even imaginary things. So I thought it might be neat to create some paintings based off of those. So that's what these are all about. I think there's one over there too. Then upstairs I have all these, some people might say they're a little strange and unusual pieces of artwork. Basically I have this really crazy imagination, and that's where most of my ideas come from. They're really spontaneous. Some of them are planned, and sometimes they just kind of come to me out of nowhere. I might be sitting on the couch watching TV or driving down the highway, and all of a sudden I get this image that pops up in my head, and I'm like, well, that'd be really neat to draw. So that's where some of this comes from. This big piece right here, that's actually how that started. Just a random idea that I had, and started out as a really small sketch, and then I blew it up real big on some wood, and we cut it out, and then I painted it. So that's where that one comes from. I'm just going to pick a couple of these others to talk about. So the one up there called temporomandibular joint disorder was basically inspired by my condition with TMJ. I kind of deal with a lot of pain with that every day, so I thought, why not do a visual representation of what that feels like? So it's a little different. I think the other one I'd like to talk about maybe is the one called Emergence from the Primordial Stew. That was one that I didn't plan. I kind of had a basic idea of where it was going, and I started by just sketching one of the faces, and then I just kind of added to it as I went, and then I had an end product that was... The basic idea behind that one is kind of how people say that life came from this primordial stew, and my crazy imagination, when I picture that, I picture this crazy entity emerging from the primordial stew, where you have this merging of all the human body parts, which of course that's not how it really happened, but that's my interpretation of it. So, I think I'll end it with that. I know there's a lot of these that people have probably wondered about. If you have a question or something, just ask me, and I'd be more than happy to explain it or talk about it.
So next we'll hear from Josh. He was related to Brian, but she's
That's my wife. Josh McCurdy. I'm a 2008 graduate here from Culver. Doing pottery started for me here at Culver. My freshman year I took a pottery class with Joe. I was really amazed with the stuff he was doing, some of the stuff my friend Ashley Miller was doing as well. So I spent a lot of hours down in the studio downstairs trying to work on making pots, and kind of looked at all this. Even in that first clay class, we were introduced to raku, something very different I had never even seen before. With all the metallics, all the flashes of different kinds of colors and colors. So that was something I really liked too. It wasn't just something that was functional, it was something that was more artistic, something more spontaneous. That's something I still like doing too. It's my favorite kind of pottery, so far as producing that, because you never really know how it's going to turn out. And with those, some people might not know, I actually will glaze these, fire these in a gas kiln really quickly within about an hour. I'll pull these out when they're red hot with a pair of tongs. I will then lower those down into like a trash can full of newspapers. That burning paper, once I close the lid on it, burns all the oxygen out inside of the can, making all the copper reduce and pop out in the glaze. So each piece, I can make 10 of these, same shape, size, and everything. Each one would come out differently. So it's very spontaneous, that's why I kind of like it. There's just different ones. All the pottery you see here is raku. A couple of different ones here. This one's kind of a different look. This one here is actually called naked raku. That's because there's no glaze on it at all. I just basically take a white porcelain piece, kind of roll it like a slurry of like sandy clay. And then when I fire that piece, that outer coating of clay shrinks and shrivels. Then the smoke in that basket fills those cracks and colors the clay. So it's kind of a unique way of doing it. Then just, I also like doing a lot of sculpture as well, almost a little more than pottery, because with teaching full time, it's kind of hard to get in a lot of sculpture. Done a few sculptures up above. Some were kind of figurative, some I've actually done. They're kind of jack-o'-lantern type of sculpture. I sold a lot of those recently. Just like experimenting and doing different things. So, again, if you have any questions for me, I'm more happy to answer those.
I'd like to add that Josh took my place at Highland High School after I was there 25 years, and I was so blessed to have someone that talented to take my place. Now I'd like to introduce Dusty Little that I just met.
My name is Dusty Little. I'm actually married to both of them. Come in a set. It says I'm an 07 grad, but there's still some credit hours I'm working on. So when it happens, We're keeping our fingers crossed. Talking quickly about my time here at Culver. Like I said, I'm an 07 grad. It took me 4 long years to get out here. But one thing that I was taught here from my art professors, and I did not have Mr. Beck as a professor, but like I talked to Joe earlier, he was in our class, plenty to learn from him. They taught me to take chances, change things up, don't get stuck in a rut, don't do things the same way. So what I found lately, the things I like to do are 100 times more difficult one way or simpler another way than it was 4 years ago, 5 years ago when I was in school. So if you look around my work, I wish I could say that it has any kind of deep meaning, but it doesn't. Like, I have this love for everyday objects, things that you walk past and don't think about. A mop bucket in a field, that's a mop bucket in a field. There's nothing more to that. There's no deep meaning to it. It's a mop bucket in a field. I thought it was a cool looking mop bucket, so I painted it and put it in the field. But lately I found that I love negative space. I think sometimes, and this is shocking to some people, but sometimes the things you don't say are almost more important than the things you do say. And since I talk nonstop, I said, I wonder what it'd be like in my art if I just stopped talking for a second. So I started utilizing a lot more negative space in my work with simple minimalism of things I like. Lego blocks. Reminds me of my childhood. I like blocks. I like Lego blocks. Beer. If anybody here's a beer drinker, I was probably drinking when I made it. I'm not going to lie to you about it. I like beer. Football stuff. It's things I like. It's not meant to have a purpose or a reason. It's something I enjoy doing. And Al Beck already said it to me today. He said, work hard and enjoy what you do. That's what I did. I like doing what I do. And I always take my students' opinions into account when I work on my artwork. So if they think something sucks, it means it's great. My kids think it sucks, that's awesome. I like that. When I think something's going the right direction, I stop completely and start over. So I like to get their feedback. I like to have them involved in the process. I do it right in the classroom with them. But like I said, some of my things, I don't have specific pieces I like more than others. I do have a couple self-portraits, which if you know me, yeah, I'm going to do portraits of myself. I love me. The giant one hanging up in the front. But I believe my favorite piece would be the one in the back corner. I know you guys can't see it. It's Zoysia Herrera, which is actually the painting with baseball bats. And the whole reason that painting started in class last year, in my advanced painting class, is because I built a tool to make wood grain with paint. I thought that was cool. So I made some baseball bats. And then it just kind of evolved. At one time we were using it to prop the door open on hot summer days to get some airflow in there. And then that young man actually in there is one of my students from last year. He was like, can I be in it? I was like, why not? So I just put him in it. And that's just kind of how things go. It's kind of evolved. Like Brian said, you're sitting around, you're thinking of things, you're just kind of doing stuff. That's the best thing about being an artist. There is no end result. There's no end answer. None of this stuff can be done or can all be completed. We don't know. It doesn't have to have an answer. So that's why I like doing things like that. I love the fact that Josh asked me to come do this because it got me being a little bit more creative. It got me working, which has helped me being a teacher. It's helped me in the classroom. It's helped me kind of vent a little bit. I wake up sometimes, I'll type something on my phone just to remember, hey, give that a shot. And most of the times, I crash and burn, like violently crash and burn. But when it happens, it comes out good. But if you have any questions about anything specific, I would like to say before I stop yapping, this is the shortest speech I've ever given, by the way, so you're welcome, is that I know you're looking at the pottery out here, but I had pottery that was good too in college. It was usually Josh's leftovers that I tried to pass off as my own. Joe never once let me do that. But Josh is a very skilled potter, and this stuff is amazing. When he sends me pictures of his stuff, I try to put it up, and I'm like, kids, this is what I do. This is my stuff. We've seen you throw. That's not you at all. But that stuff is extremely impressive. I think this is a really good show. I think they both did a great job. And if you have questions about anything, I'm sure everybody can answer or make up your own answers. Who cares? It's art. Do your thing. Is that it? Is that good?
That was awesome.
All right. Yeah, the Pez and the Dunce are me. You can tell by the size of the nose.
I wasn't gonna
I
say.
got half a sandwich in my face. Are there any questions? We can ask each other questions. We were here though to ask them.
Now, I never met Dusty or saw his artwork until they came. I was a little nervous. So,
Yeah, me too. I think I better get there.
yeah. Did you two know each other?
Yep. We're the older lot. They're the younger lot. They're the next generation. And Josh is like 9 months older than me.
Well, Josh gave me the idea of putting the 07
And I didn't know you were at that show also. I remember when you guys started dating, but I won't tell those kids.
Well, I hope everyone gets to see the show and eats plenty of food. I may have overbought. So please mill around and help yourself.